I'm Robert Van Ostrand. I'm a PhD candidate in Sheila David's lab in the Department of Chemistry at UC Davis. Today we'll be taking a look at Chem Elements. If you're new to UC Davis, you might become way more familiar with Chem Elements than you may ever want to, but it's one of the necessary things we need to do as TAs. So you'll log into Chem Elements. You saw I use my university login name to get in there. Once you're in, make sure that you have the latest version of Adobe Flash. You're not going to be able to do this without that, or at least see what the students see. I think you can still navigate it without Adobe Flash. It's just a lot easier if you have it. I'm just scrolling through a few of the things that you'll see the students need to watch. You can see them as well. You don't necessarily need to utilize these things for grading purposes, but it helps to know what the students are looking at when they're asking questions. So you can also see the quizzes that the students have to take. I'm not going to pull this up on my computer right now. All right. So one thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to support your students in their post-lab quizzes on Chem Elements. And one thing they're going to ask you to do a lot is to reset the post-lab from a certain question. Same with the pre-lab quiz. So before every lab, you're probably aware by now, you're going to need to make sure the students take their safety pre-lab quiz. Now, if a student fails it before and it's not right before the lab, you can certainly reset their pre-lab quiz, just depending on the guidance from the professor, head TA, and the administrators running the chemistry program. So here we can see the pre-lab quiz matrix. Here's where you can add points to their pre-lab for whatever reason this comes up. If you've been told you can give extra credit for some reason, you can add one to whatever amount of points to their score. Just make sure you hit the button at the bottom of the screen that says add points to student quiz scores. And always make sure you justify the reason. You saw there's a text box there, adjustment reasons. Make sure you leave a reason if you're going to make a score adjustment. Next, let's look at I went back to reports and we're looking at the post-lab exercises now. Here's where you can add points, say a week where they may have graphs that they have to turn in that's not necessarily counted for on Chem Elements. Here's where you can add their pre-lab scores. And then of course you want to hit add points to student scores if you do want to add any points. Now you saw I went into scoring their post-lab questions, and you can add 1 or 2 points to their answers based off how they answer the question. So one thing you're going to hear a lot is, can you please reset my post-lab from a certain question? And if all of the rules of your section allow for it, you pick the question and then clear the student's exercise starting with selected question. The others you see will reset their quiz and their post-lab entirely. So once you're done for the quarter and you want to see all of the student scores, one way you can get all the scores to pull up is you see that all scores matrix you can go to. There's a little option there to be able to copy and paste everything into an Excel spreadsheet. And your head TA may have different directions for you, but this is one way you can get all of this information quickly to an Excel sheet. And always at the end of the quarter, verify that all of your post labs have been updated. Make sure you've entered make sure you've actually graded all of those long answer questions at the end of post labs. Make sure you've accounted for points and that they may have turned in for graphs. So now I'm just opening up Excel to start a new spreadsheet. so I can transfer all of that information to Excel spreadsheet. You may not even need to do this, but it's very likely that you will. It's also very likely that your head TA could have a template for you that you'll just need to copy and paste your information into, and possibly add other information, like if they miss a lab. You're going to have to justify, you're going to have to explain if they're failing, if they're failing the lab, or if they have an excused absence, just justify that. Your head TA will let you know for sure.